Hey you guys, this is Josh
and Carolyn
with Homesteading Family, and welcome to this week's episode of the Pantry Chat Food for Thought.
This week we are going to be talking about involving children in the homestead so that they learn to love it.
We're not experts, but we've got a few kids and they are involved with the homestead, so we'll share with you what's worked for us.
And they better love it, or else.
That's the philosophy. Anyways, we'll get real on that in a few minutes, but obviously we're going to kick it off with a little chit chat and a couple questions.
Yeah, if you're new to the Pantry Chat, make sure, and you don't want to listen to the chit chat, check out the timestamps because you can move right on ahead to the main topic. But chit chat's important around here. We like chit chat. You know, it's more of us should sit around and chit chat over a good cup of coffee.
Absolutely.
What's wrong with the world today, right?
Needs more coffee. I know I do.
No, it needs more chit chat.
Right.
Oh,
well, and coffee helps.
And coffee helps,
Chit-chat,
definitely.
right.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, so this is good. It's going to be a fun episode today.
All right.
What have you been up to?
Oh, well, right now is swim lessons with the kids.
You're taking swim lessons.
I am not taking swim lessons, thankfully, because it looks exhausting, honestly. I probably should be taking swim lessons, but I'm not. But just the amount of upheaval in the regular schedule.
Disruption to the regular flow. We like our flow.
Yeah.
We're not militaristic, but we do like our rhythm.
We do. We do. We like knowing what happens next, and the kids do too. They actually really thrive in that kind of environment.
They do.
And it's all thrown out the window right now. And so it's just kind of get things done when we can get things done. And it gets messy by the end of it. It's 2 weeks of it, every day for 2 weeks. So it feels significant in life. But it is amazing watching how much more they're swimming and learning some of the technicals of swimming, because they do, we're down at the river swimming, we're swimming outside of the pool quite a bit this time of year. So not only are they getting the technicals, but they're getting the practice, which is cool. So we're doing that. But then around the edges of that, we have the harvest starting to come in for real. So we've got raspberry picking every 3 days. Still picking peas, and then the green beans are coming on here, and of course there's other things that happen kind of all at once. Those are the things that have to get done regularly.
About time to thin the carrots and the beets. We plant densely, very densely, and then thin them out for babies, for fresh eating, and a little bit of fermenting and pickling and whatnot.
Pickling beets are one of the... it's a labor of love. It's one of the higher workload preserving things that we do around here.
They are good.
But we really like them. So we do them anyway. So we have to time our thinning of the beets for baby beets along with when the kitchen has time. And it's not going to line up with swim lessons, I can tell you that. We got to get through swim lessons first. But yeah, we have some of those things starting to come in, and lots of foraging for huckleberries. Ooh, freeze-dried huckleberries, huckleberry jam, frozen huckleberries, dehydrated huckleberries, fresh huckleberries, all sorts of huckleberries.
Swimming in huckleberries.
It's a good thing to be swimming in.
It is, yeah. Yep, man, that's not something we have to grow. That is wild foraging, so we love that.
So I've been doing a lot of that. Oh, and of course, the latest issue of the In the Homestead Kitchen magazine is out.
Right.
This is the potatoes issue, and there's so many great things in here. Potatoes are really fun. You know, they are one of those things that seem so plain and so basic, and yet there is so much that you can do with them.
Very versatile.
They are very versatile.
Also very easy to grow. And
here in Idaho,
homegrown in good soil, they're also, nutrient dense.
Yeah.
So it's a valuable crop.
So I'll put a link to this down in the description. It is digital only right now.
So I want to tease something. I want to tease because we heard a lot at the conference.
Yes.
Got a lot of requests. And it's something we're working towards anyways, but any just hint of the idea of when we'll be ready to go to print, because everybody's asking for this in print. It's been our goal from the beginning. It's a long process because this is a homegrown magazine, literally. So any just like, I mean, nobody's pinning you down.
Okay, not pinned down.
And I know I've got some work to do to help this, but move
I'm
along.
not making any promises, but the goal is for the beginning of 25.
Beginning of 25.
Yes,
Okay.
with maybe a few special editions
some
out
compilations of some existing ones
Something
to
like
test
that.
it and get it out there.
That's the goal, but
Cool.
but yeah, you know, I'm learning. I am maturing. I'm learning to just go through the steps, step by step, and I want it done yesterday. That's how I am, just on everything. Like, how can we make this happen next week? But I'm moderating. I'm learning. Just, you know, take the right steps when you're supposed to take them, and everything's going to get done. Slow and steady wins the race, and keeps like walking on the other side of the race to survive it and to smile.
Right, it's a marathon. Yeah, you can't sprint all the time, but it's hard because it is a good magazine, and more people were getting feedback. Really want print, which is great because that was the goal. That was the hope that this would turn into something that you guys would want in print. But yeah, it's a road to get there. There's a lot of things to consider, and I think we're not just looking at necessarily going the traditional publisher route.
Yeah.
We don't know yet, but a
We'll
lot
see.
of things
There's
to consider.
A lot of things to think about there.
So, anyways, well, good. That's
Yeah.
we're headed somewhere. We have a goal.
We
That's
have a
great.
goal.
Having a goal, having a place to look towards is good.
But in a vote of you guys want the magazine and you want it in print, if you subscribe to it now, it helps us know where we're going with it and that there is the interest out there for it to make it worth it.
And that's what it takes to get it, for us to get it to print, because there's no advertising in here yet. There's nothing paying for this except for you guys that subscribe, but that's what helps build this towards an actual valuable print magazine.
Yeah.
So check a link out below if you're interested in that.
So what have you been up to?
Wow, well, we are out in the pasture doing a lot of rotation, moving the animals through. We've been able to increase every year, and that's been really exciting. Things kind of exploded this year. This is third year of very intentional rotational grazing, and third year is often a year where things you see a drastic step up. So that's been great, just doing that and working with Connor and a couple of the other kids, but particularly Connor, who is very involved and loving working with the animals in the pasture. So that's been a big focus. We've got second round broiler chickens out on pasture, and working towards finishing those up, I forget, later in the month, early September. But and barn addition. We're working on the other side of the barn this year. Last year we did an addition, we did it ourselves, built on a wing of the barn, but you cannot have enough roof space up here.
No.
And we're under roof for 5 to 6 months of the year. We have to feed all our animals under roof, and so we're really working on developing deep bedding systems, efficiency, and then recycling all of that material back out to pasture, which is going to really accelerate that pasture improvement in some areas we're expanding in. So working on a lot of those things, that's a lot of focus. Of course, the garden's going like you're saying, but we've got intern here this year, and Rachel's her second year in the garden, so they're really, I'm just kind of walking through once a day.
Yeah.
And they're doing a great job and have made some good improvements. They got the greenhouse going. I'm not sure if we've mentioned that, but they remodeled the greenhouse. So lots of things like that.
The greenhouse is really exciting because here in North Idaho, we can grow watermelons. We just don't get them until it's like first frost, at which point nobody really wants watermelon that much. Like you kind of move past
cool off.
when you want them.
Yep.
And so we're actually seeing like watermelons form up.
Yep.
And I think we're gonna be eating melon while it's hot out, and that is exciting. That is a first time feat.
Well, and it's fun because we're trellising them and actually hanging the melons, kind of like what Carol and I have seen in old Victorian style gardens. That's really neat. We've got okra in there,
Yes.
which are starting. I don't know if you've heard, but they're starting to get some little.
No, it's time.
By the time they're seeing this, we'll be harvesting
eating
some.
okra.
Yep, sweet potatoes. So those are new things for us. The greenhouse isn't very big, so this is all kind of like playing around, not serious production. But it's fun to see that really coming to work after they remodeled it and got a drip system going and amended the soil. So really, really cool.
Yeah.
Just kind of trucking along through summer here and.
Trucking along. You have a special trip out here this weekend.
Yeah, that's right. Getting backpacking. So I take each of the kids at some point on a solo backpacking trip for usually it's their first backpacking trip. And we don't backpack as much as we'd like to, but I like getting that time with the kids individually, and also just getting them out into nature and showing them a few skills from the other side of being in nature besides just the farm. So we go out and backpack, and it's not completely primitive, but we're out gathering up our wood and cooking light and fishing to see if we can provide a few meals. Hopefully find a few huckleberries while we're up there. So yeah, getting to go out with Brianna and do a solo trip. We've got a favorite little place on a lake up in the mountains we like to go to.
All right.
So looking forward to that. Yep.
Good.
Yeah.
Sounds like fun. Sounds like summer in Idaho.
It does, yeah. Besides enjoying the river, like Carolyn was saying, it's every day usually we're in the river. We've got it right out here, so that is our July and August kind of fun, rest, entertainment, all get to hang out together and do something fun. Yeah, and that's close and easy and refreshing.
Yeah. Very nice.
Like it. Yeah.
Good.
Cool. You want to do a couple questions?
Question of the day?
Yeah. That is a long name. I'm just going to say from Marnie. Better than candy, how to freeze dry berries. So Marnie says, we also have 2 freeze dryers. Good for you. But have them spaced on either end of the room in our basement. We still struggle with too much heat in the room for the machines to work properly. Do you have air conditioning?
No, we do not have air conditioning. And while they do heat up the space and add some humidity to the space, we actually have ours, you've seen on video, like they're sitting right next to each other. And I've never had a problem with them not working properly because of heat.
It's a big basement, and we are in North Idaho. Nights still cool off, and we are pulling a little bit of cool air in. It's not enough to cool the place down, but it probably is helping with the heat a little bit.
Yeah, but we do not have air conditioning to answer the question. Yeah. So, that's challenging if it's adding that much heat. And I'm guessing that your basement is already warm and not a cool space if that's the problem.
Yeah.
So that is a little hard. What do we do? Add a little air movement if possible?
I mean, that's what I would suggest. Like I was saying, we've got a little 4-inch fan pulling air in, a little low voltage from overnight, but it gets pretty cool here at night. I'm guessing you're somewhere that's a bit warmer. Yeah. So you might need a little AC unit that adds to that. They've got them now. I'm not thinking of the terminology, but they're not big, they're not expensive. They can mount, and they don't take the full traditional AC to work, and can help with the space. So more energy you got to use, but might be worth it.
There you go.
Yep.
Good. Okay, and one for you, Robert, on the cured pork, the old-fashioned way video. I live in Florida. How can I keep bugs off the meat once it is hung up?
Well, I don't live in Florida, so we're not used to curing meat in Florida. That you definitely have your particular challenges, but I would just say some cheesecloth, something like that, that's just loose, easy to hang over, that's not going to damage the meat. That's, if I'm remembering right, when I was with Brandon Sheard, he's in Oklahoma now, and that's what we were doing there. I believe it's the cheesecloth. So that'd be my thought. I don't know if you have any thoughts, but that's just shapeable, moldable, and real easy.
Historically, the pepper coating too on a lot of things. That's why you get that a pepper rind on things occasionally. That was done as a deterrent for insects. Yeah. So just laying that before you do the final hang, you've kind of rinsed it off and everything, and then laying that into cracked pepper and rolling whatever it is that you've cured into that before you hang it up can help with that too.
It can, and it definitely, if you start, in the beginning when it's moist, you can do the cheesecloth and you can pull it off as that outside starts to rind and dry, and then the pepper helps
There you go.
Helps keep that off. Now, you got to not mind the pepper. So we think it adds good flavor.
Yeah.
Not everybody likes pepper as much as I know I do.
Right. Yeah, you are a pepper lover, but I like it on the meats too.
Yeah.
So,
Good.
Okay, diving into the main topic today.
All right. Involving children so they love it. We should have the kids here talking about if they love it, but
We should.
our kids are all generally happy and happily involved. I think some, are doing it and happy to be here and participate. It's not necessarily the thing they're excited about, but they're very willing and a part of the family vision. And others are, as we watch them mature, like really excited. They want this life.
Yeah, we have multiple that would
that
want
are
to
just
stick
really
around.
saying, I want to be here. This is what I want to do. I want to figure out how to make a living and here close by and do this. So I think what we're doing so far is working well.
We definitely don't see ourselves as professional parents or experts on this topic, aside from just having a lot of experience.
Well, people ask us a lot of questions, and really, our first is just 18, and I'm and the youngest is 4 months, and to me, it's kind of like, well, ask us out of at least when half of them are out of the house, we'll maybe have a better idea.
Yeah,
We did, but we can.
But we're going to talk about it
But we can
anyways.
humbly share what we think is working for us now.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good. Right off the top, though, I want to talk about the difference of fun and happy and joy. And I think this is something that's really important to call out in our culture right now, is that, the world and the culture says you have to be happy. You have to have fun all the time and being happy. And there's a difference between happy and joy.
Oh, absolutely.
Happy is very circumstantial. It's very temporal.
Very fleeting.
It's very fleeting. It's a very much, what people are chasing in the world right now because of a lack of true joy.
Yeah.
And joy comes from serving other people, from serving God, from,
being productive.
Being productive. It really comes from something much deeper. And so just in this culture, we have this as parents, especially if you're paying attention to any mommy blogs or anything like that, like everything should be fun. We should make everything a game. We should make everything, involve stickers and ice cream or not ice cream because that's bad for your kid's weight or, whatever it is. There's a lot of opinions out there. But the reality is that we need to give our children the tools to have true joy. And that often comes from learning to serve other people or serve your family. And so that's really what we're talking about today, is not just this so that they love it. That doesn't necessarily mean so that they're having a blast every day at all times and having a whole lot of fun. It means they have a deep sense of worth about what they're doing and who they are and the skills that they've gained and how they're helping their family and their community. That's really the key, I think, behind all of this, is taking away that, it's fun. That's good. We like fun.
Yeah,
Fun
and
is good.
absolutely, there's moments
Yeah.
of fun, and we do try to make things fun at certain
Right.
times, but we're looking for something that's not as fleeting as that. And that joy, and really, I think that there's a lot of things that come with it. Confidence, there's a whole lot of things.
Absolutely.
Those things are going to carry the kids through so that they love life and they love what they're doing, even if it's not homesteading. Our goal is not to make everybody a homesteader in our family. I mean, we hope they'll all be connected to the land and understand an agrarian life and have skills if they need them. But more than anything, to have them be confident, secure, joyful, walking with joy. That ultimately does bring, I think, more happiness. If you have true joy in your spirit and your heart, you're going to have more moments of happiness, more times of happiness, whatever you're going through and whatever you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that you bring out the confidence side, and that is something that we've really seen, with our children, is that children's minds aren't fooled, right? We can tell them, give them pats on the back all the time. Oh, you're doing really good at these things that don't really matter very much. And ultimately, as humans, we're not fooled by that. We know when we feel worthwhile, not worthy, but when we have something of value to contribute. And that makes us feel good about ourselves, as it should.
Yeah.
And it makes us feel confident. Giving children these skills gives them that gift of that confidence and that real self-worth that comes from actually having something that is of value to share with the world.
Yeah.
So.
And I want to say something before we get right into our points, and that is that true deep joy is rooted in faith, and it's rooted in faith in Christ. So while we're focusing on homesteading and things to do, this is all, the foundation is on Jesus and on faith. And there is confidence and security that comes from that is undergirding into a lot of these other things, in our opinion. So just want to put that out there, because that's really the foundation that we're building upon. And but let's step into giving kids ownership.
Yeah. So, people need to feel like they have control of something, right? In order to really be able to get involved in it and put themselves into it. Children are no different than that. They need some ownership over an area. For us, we start them very young, giving them a garden space and letting them have
It's their garden space. They do whatever they want with it. They pull the carrots out and say, look, it's growing. And they put them back. And you say, okay, all right, have fun.
Or they let it all die because they didn't water it, or they plant a beautiful garden in it and get to share their vegetables or sell their vegetables or whatever they want with that. And so making sure that you're giving moments for your children to have ownership of something. Helicopter parenting is a hard thing to get over. It is a bad thing. It is not helping anybody be responsible. And so the moment where you can step back and let the kids have ownership, but that also means ownership not of just the successes and of the project, but also of the failures, right?
Yeah. Well, and I've noticed, they'll come out and work in the main garden, the family garden, willingly and happy and have a good time and sing songs and stuff. But there is nothing like seeing your 7-year-old come in the house in the morning after going down to her own garden and passing out peas at 7 in the morning and enjoying fresh peas out of her own garden because she has ownership. She's done it herself and she's sharing it with everybody and feeling very productive. I mean, that's besides the fact that she just wants to eat peas in the morning.
Right.
I'm kind of like, oh, thanks, honey. Can we have that
not
later?
Ready for peas yet.
But that's just an example of the difference of working in the main garden where, they participate, they're great, and they're excited about things, but it's not the same when they have that ownership and they've done it. And they're like, wow, look what I did. And you're able to praise them in that and share in that with them. Yeah, that's just one little area and example, but you got to find lots of different areas to give them ownership, even in bigger things where they can have ownership of a little area or a little, maybe it's the family garden, but they get a plant or they get something. I don't know. Lots of different ways to do that.
Yeah, and of course that ownership grows as they get older and they get more capable. But even starting very young, giving them ownership.
And that means you have to be willing for things to fail.
Yeah.
And you have to be willing for things to go wrong and not always go as expected, because they are going to have ownership of areas on the homestead, and we deal with that where we're giving it to the kids and they're like, whoa, this is kind of affects all of us, but that's part of the journey. It's part of how we learn.
So start off young because of that, and with an area that is not crucial to your food production or your homestead, something, their own little garden space, but give them that ownership so they start understanding the consequences of their actions. And, I put energy in, I take care of it, and look, it thrives. I don't, and it doesn't. And that helps teach a lot of lessons right there.
Yep.
Okay.
Give kids peace.
Yeah, stop nagging. Stop the emotional stuff.
That's hard. That's hard for all of us when we're trying to do a lot together.
Right. There is a way of managing your household that allows the daily routines of the household to do the nagging for you so you don't have to. And that would be to make sure that any chore times or any jobs that need to get done happen before something that your child wants to do. Maybe it's a meal if you have food, if you have young men who are hungry and they like their meal
time. Did you finish your chores?
Did you finish your chores? And that's all you have to ask. You don't have to be the nag. Yeah, it might be playtime.
Music.
It might be whatever it is for your family or your child that they like to do. But all of a sudden it's not you going, did you do it yet? Did you do it yet? Did you do it yet? You really need to do it. Instead, you go to, oh, did you finish your chore? Oh, well, gosh, you better hurry because we're all eating without you. You're going to miss breakfast, and letting the household systems actually do the nagging because your child wants something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So.
Give kids a team.
Yeah, work with them. Be part of it, like put them together with you, not just working under you all the time, but make a sense of we're working together to accomplish something.
Yeah, and that there's balance. You can't do that all the time.
No.
Sometimes you can work together, sometimes they're working directly under your supervision, sometimes they're working without supervision. And you have to do all of that, but they need to feel a part of the team.
Right.
They need to feel that we're all doing this together.
Right. And sometimes that means like pulling out, okay, you do this and I'm going to do this, and then together we're going to get to go do that thing, right? That maybe fun thing or that of the other end. But making sure they feel like they're doing it as part of the whole family or part of the whole group, contributing, even if it's not all at the exact same moment that you're adding your parts. But, everybody starts seeing how the whole team is coming together to make your goals get accomplished.
Right, and you're giving them a say even in how the team functions. We do what's called Homestead Huddle and try to do them monthly. We're not always great at that, but we certainly get to them somewhat regularly and annually, and they have a say. They get to talk about what do they like doing, what would they like to do that they haven't. And so as we're shaping up that team over time, it shifts and it moves around, and not everybody always gets to do what they want to do, but we try to be flexible, and that helps in the team building. And then also somebody else has done that skill, now they're doing it, so this person can help that person, and there's just a lot of stuff, just I don't even know how to explain it. There's a lot of good things that happen in all of that.
Yeah, it really is.
This is huge. This is really, really huge. Give kids a sense of accomplishment.
It is so easy to just run over we got it done, and so now we're just moving on to the next thing.
Yeah,
right.
Especially in this life, right?
It really is.
Moving along.
Okay, done. Checked it off, so let's move on, and it's so important to stop and to celebrate the wins and to celebrate them together, and in simple ways, just in acknowledging all the time. I know you and I have a tendency, and this started very naturally, around the table to look at the plate and be like, wow, look at so-and-so did this and we did that. And do you remember that day that we had that long, hot day in the kitchen canning those pickled beets? And here they are on the plate, and kind of drawing out what every person did. Right. So that it's like, and here it is, and we're eating it and we're enjoying it together. And so just making sure to call out that accomplishment.
And obviously, meal times is such a great place for that. So take time to do that at meal times, because usually what comes out of that is then there's these memories about, we were working really hard to harvest that day, but then we went to the river and, something happened. And so that you've got that sense of accomplishment, but then it builds into building team and family culture and productivity through those conversations. Right. So you want to do it one-on-one, but you also want to do it together as family.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Good.
Giving kids character.
Ooh, this is a hard one. We don't talk about this a lot in culture anymore. Who is it that's teaching your children character? The school's not doing it, right?
Responsibility, self-control, compassion, patience, perseverance, a few that come to mind.
Yeah. The school's not teaching that. School doesn't have time or ability to teach that. The TV's not teaching it. That really comes down to a parent's responsibility, is to be teaching these things and actually looking for ways to develop these things in your children, seeing, noticing where's the deficiency, where is somebody lacking a little bit of character. Maybe there's a little dishonesty going on, right? We need to build up some honesty, the character quality trait of being honest. Or being punctual, or some of these different things. We need to be specifically building those into our children. Homesteading is a phenomenal way of doing that because, you have to pick up the responsibility. You have to persevere through challenges. There's all these, you have to be patient with those carrots that you want to pull out of the garden. There are all these different character traits that get taught through this, but in teaching them, it makes it so that actually excel faster and faster.
Yeah.
So pulling out those traits and really paying attention to them.
But obviously you have to be working on exemplifying them yourself.
Yes.
You know, that's a challenge. We have to exemplify those things, but then we need to not just exemplify them, but like Carolyn is saying, I think, look for moments to teach them specifically and bring them along. And I know we haven't done this a whole lot, but I know there are families that like they set out, these are our family core character traits or values.
Oh, that's neat.
And so they talk about those regularly. Now, it doesn't mean it's an exclusion to other ones, but the family kind of picks certain ones. This is our theme. You know, like we have a few, Bible verses that maybe exemplify some of that, that are like our family verses. That's one way. But that's another idea, is like what's important to you and your family, or what, what's there for you that you can then exemplify.
Yeah.
That kind of shines the light forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Lastly, here is to give kids support.
That really means to keep them accountable, right?
Yeah.
Give them support in that you're not just saying, go do this thing, and then not being there on the other side, not inspecting their work, not holding them accountable to finishing it, and finishing it well and doing a good job that they can feel proud of.
Yeah.
So we need to give them that support of holding them accountable.
I think the other side of that is also giving them support, giving them what they need to do the job well.
Absolutely.
And I know sometimes I'll be frustrated, like, what's going on here? This didn't get done. It seems basic, And if I take the time to listen, because if I just run them over, they're not going to talk. But if I take time to listen, I realize that maybe I failed them in just not setting something up well, and giving them support they need to actually do what it was we were asking for. So you need support on both sides, on the front end of providing what they need to do the job, and then that accountability on the back end.
Now, we actually gave this same talk at the Modern Homesteading Conference this year, and our children were out in the audience. And afterwards, I spoke with the older kids, and I said, what did you think about that? How did you feel like we represented our household? And my oldest son said, you forgot something. So I thought I better share that here. It was actually a really big compliment to us. I was thankful for him on that, because, he's hearing all about how he was raised, right?
Right.
And he said, you make it clear, and we've always been able to come to you and discuss when we're not happy with something or when something's not going that way. And it's really easy to come talk to you guys. And so for him, that was key to this whole thing also, is that they feel like they have an outlet to come to you, even if you're the problem, that they feel like they can come and say, I don't think this is fair. I don't like this. This hurt my feelings. I'm really struggling with this issue. That they can come and talk to us. So we regularly say that out loud. You can come talk to us. But then we have to, of course, follow through with that and be approachable and be ready to swallow the parental pride that happens when anybody in a relationship comes and says, you're messing it up. I don't think you're doing it right.
Especially when we blow it. And I think, that just speaks to that. We have to be willing to apologize and say, I didn't handle this well. I'm sorry. I failed you as dad or mom or whatever, and I'd like to listen now. I'd like to hear your side of things. I ran you over a little bit, and so we can fix that even when we don't do it well.
Absolutely.
If we're humble and honest. So these are some of the key things that we think are working for us, and that we see fruit in. And we're on the same road you are, figuring it out and journeying. And God has been good, and certainly seems to be blessing us. And we hope that these ideas will bless you.
Yeah. Take care, you guys. We'll see you real soon.
Bye.
Goodbye.